What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and we are starting a new project build here at Speedy Garage. Now this is a 2018 Cannondale SuperSix Evo Hi-Mod, which is quite the name. But if you are into lightweight bikes, you'll know exactly what this frame is. This is one of the premier weight weenie frames. And I've been, looking for a new road bike for a while now. I've never really had a nice road bike. I have my gravel bike, my Stigmata, which I use as a road bike sometimes, and I have an older, Chinese knockoff frame that I use for a road bike for a while now. I haven't had anything really, really light and nice. I stumbled across this frame set with some parts on it for a really sweet deal. No wheel set, and I figured, hey, I have some wheels laying around at home. I struck a deal with the guy selling it. And honestly, this is going to be hard to beat for the price and for the weight we're going to get this down to. So this first video is meant to just sort of be a little bit of an introduction to the bike, what parts are on it, what are some plans for the bike, and just sort of walk you around the bike as a whole. So I'm excited to start a new project. We did just hit 1,000 subscribers here at Speedy Garage, and I'm really thankful for all you guys for subscribing, watching the videos. It makes it more fun. To have people follow and to interact, and so thank you guys very much for doing that. And I hope that you'll enjoy this next build series on this SuperSix Evo Hi-Mod. I hope that you guys will enjoy the process, and hopefully this video is to your liking as well. Let's go ahead and get into the parts of the bike. Alright, so let me go ahead and walk you guys through the bike. I'm going to talk about what components are currently on the bike, as well as the plan for the build in the future. Now, this is a 54 centimeter frame. It is a 2018 model. It's rim brake, as you can see here. Rim brake frames right now, especially the newer ones, 2018, 2019, before everything sort of switched over to disc, there's some great deals to be had right now. The price I paid for this, I don't think I could buy anything remotely as nice or as stiff or as light for the price I paid. Even just for the frame set, even if you factor in new wheels, it was a great deal. And I think that's true for a lot of rim brake bikes right now, because a lot of people are switching over to disc. Obviously, I think disc is better in terms of braking performance. I have disc brakes on all my other bikes, or most of my other bikes, but if you're trying to go as light as possible, and if you're not really, really hammering it on the descents, and you're pretty smooth with your braking, rim brakes work great, right? People have ridden them for a long time. That's all I've ridden on road bikes. And you can go really light with rim brake bikes. So this bike, as it currently stands, it's got a SRAM Red 22 full group set, rear derailleur, front derailleur, which is one of the sort of weight weenie, the pinnacles, if you will, of weight weenie group sets, one of the lightest group sets ever made. It's got Cannondale hologram SISL2 cranks, which again are some of the lightest ones. So again, really already a great starting point. And honestly, just the cranks and the group set are probably worth a good chunk of what I paid for this entire frame set. Now, if you notice, obviously I don't have any wheels on the bike right now because I bought it without the wheels. Initially, I was hoping to, at least for a while, run these Reynolds 32 carbon tubulars. I don't love tubulars, obviously, because they're a pain to work on. If you get a flat, you're kind of SOL. And I was going to run them just for a while, just to ride the bike and, be able to use it. But unfortunately, the hub that's on these wheels will not take an 11-speed cassette because it's a 10-speed hub. I do, however, though, have this set of Mavic Axioms. Now, obviously, this is a much heavier, alloy wheel. It's nowhere near as nice, as aero, as stiff as the Reynolds, or really a lot of other nicer wheels. It's not a great wheel set, but it does have a Mavic hub, and Mavic did have the foresight when they were making the 10-speed hub to make it forwards compatible to 11-speed. And so I've got this red 11 to 28 cassette that came with the frame set. So again, this is like a $300 cassette, $300 plus, which came with this frame set. So really just sort of emphasize that this really was a great deal. But I put this cassette on here already. It does fit on the Mavic hub because it is a little bit wider than the standard 10-speed hub. So I'm going to run these for now. They are definitely not the right wheels for this bike. They're not light wheels. They're not really good wheels, but they're going to work. So they're going to get me going. I can ride the bike for a while, and then once I decide what direction to go in for wheels, I can find something that really works for this bike. All right, let's move on to the front of the bike here. So for the cockpit setup, we have obviously the SRAM Red 22 brifters, shifters, whatever you want to call them, with the sort of gold labeling, which I think looks pretty cool. We then have a 3T bar and stem combo. This is the 3T ARX Team 100mm stem, and then this 3T bar. I'm not exactly sure of the model of this bar. I believe it is definitely carbon. I'm not 100% sure which bar it is, but it does seem to be pretty high-end. Lizard Skins bar tape. It's a little bit worn down in a few places, so I'm definitely going to be replacing this relatively soon. Brakes, front and rear, are SRAM Red 22. And then we have sort of the typical Cannondale finishing kit with the bottom bracket, which is the typical BB30, SuperSix, and system integration headset over here. Cannondale C2 seat post. Now the C2 seat post is sort of their mid-range, not super lightweight carbon seat post, so obviously there's room for improvement there. The one downside is that this is a 25.4 diameter seat post, which is sort of the Cannondale standard for whatever reason, which is a little annoying because there aren't a ton of seat posts, high-end seat posts at least, that are made in 25.4. Now there are a few options, and there's a couple I'm considering which are good options, but unfortunately this does make it a little bit harder since most carbon seat posts are 27.2 for the smallest size. Saddle, we have Physique Antares carbon braided rails, which is a really nice saddle, nice and lightweight. I've never ridden this specific size or shape before, so I'll be interested to see how well it fits with my body. I do have some other ideas for saddles, and obviously there's a lot of weight to be saved in a lot of these parts, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and throw on some parts to make this a complete bike. Namely, we need to replace the brake pads, first of all. These are carbon-specific brake pads, so I need to put on some alloy brake pads so I can run my Mavic Axioms. I'll put the Mavic Axioms, and then last but not least, I'm going to replace the pedals because I usually ride Look Kios, and this bike came with Dura-Ace SPD SLs, which they're great pedals, obviously, but I don't ride SPD SLs. I prefer the Look Kios. So I'm going to go ahead and swap these out for the Look Kios, put the wheels on, take the brake pads off, replace them with the correct ones, and then we're going to get a weight of the bike, see what we're at right now as a starting point. And then tomorrow, since it's supposed to be nice and sunny, and I should be able to get off work a little bit sooner than usual, a little bit earlier than usual, I'm going to go ahead and take the bike for a nice quick spin and see how she does. And hopefully it rides great. And then we'll start thinking about the build process and figuring out where to save weight and how to get this guy down as light as possible. So let's check out the weight, and then we're going to take her for a spin and see how we do. All right, let's go ahead and moment of truth time. Let's figure out how much the bike weighs. My guess, I'm gonna guess right around 16 pounds. It feels really light. Obviously, the wheels are definitely the biggest limiting factor right now, but I'd be happy right around 16. So let's kind of check where we're at, go from there. All right, we are looking at 6.9 kilos or 15.29 pounds. That is actually pretty surprising and pretty awesome. Here we go, 15.29 pounds or 6.93 kilos. So that's a really nice starting weight that we can definitely work down from. If I can get this sub 15 with wheels, pedals, tires, cages, everything, that would be awesome. So we've got about 0.3 pounds to go to work our way down to sub 15. I think we can go lower than that. I mean, honestly, I've seen these bikes in the 12s and 13s. Last thing to do is go ahead and take this baby out for a spin, see how she does, and hopefully the bike ride's awesome and we can start losing some weight. And this will be another great project to have here on Speedy Garage. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Watch it through the end for my first ride impressions, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you later. All right, quick little sit rep here on the bike. Feeling great. This thing is super responsive. That's the first thing you notice, is when you put power through the pedals, it just goes, right? The cranks feel really stiff, which is honestly surprising, because most of the time when, you know, people say, oh, these cranks are really stiff, you know, I've got the Force carbon cranks on my Sigmana, I have the Rotor Capit carbons on my Highball. Yeah, they feel stiffer than like aluminum cranks, but you know, you don't really, I don't know if you can tell a huge difference. These though, these feel stiff, right? Like if you mash on them, they just take all the power and put it through the drivetrain. So that's really cool. Cockpit setup is pretty solid so far. 7 feels a little long for me. That's more just a size thing. Probably want to go down to like a 90 or an 80 for my personal body size. Which will obviously save some weight too, so that's cool. Bars feel good. The SRAM shifters take a little bit getting used to. The double tap, I've used it before, but I took it off my my gravel bike to put on the axis, and that's obviously much more simple and intuitive, just left and right. So it does take a little bit of getting used to for the shifters, but nothing, you know, after honestly like 5 minutes, feels pretty good. But yeah, honestly, bike feels great. Really comfortable. That was also somewhat unexpected. I was expecting, you know, because it is a carbon stiff frame, it'd be very chattery, and it really isn't. It soaks up the bumps. There's some less than perfect roads on this route that I'm doing right now, and it felt, you know, as good, if not better, than my other bikes, you know, so that's good. And honestly, like, it just feels great. I haven't really had a chance to fully test the brakes. Haven't done any real downhills. There will be a kind of flowy, fast downhill right at the end, so I'll test them there. Climbing, so far I've only done a kind of, you know, relatively shallow grade effort, maybe like 3-4%. Then I did a section that's maybe like 6 or 7. But you know, where this bike is going to shine is on the steep and steady stuff. So right at the end of this route, there's a short but rather steep climb that I sort of use as a benchmark. So we're gonna give it the beans on that. I am feeling a little gassed today, so I don't know if I'll be able to PR on it. If I do, well, if I don't PR, it definitely won't be the bike holding me back, I imagine. It'll be me. But I'll give it what I got. Hopefully, good time, hopefully feels good. And yeah, so far so good. Immediate things to fix. Got to dial in the fit a little better. It feels pretty good. I feel like I'm maybe sitting a little far back, and I'm maybe a little low on the saddle. So that's an easy fix. The saddle of the Physique Antares feels great. Again, I've only been riding for about half an hour, but it feels like my S-Works Power, which is my favorite saddle, so that's a compliment. And yeah, honestly, the bike feels great. Really enjoying it so far. This isn't the best route, but I wanted something short and sweet, just to, in case something went wrong, you know, I could easily troubleshoot, head back home, and this weekend I'll definitely take it on something a little longer. So thank you guys for watching the video all the way through. The last little bit here will be my effort on that little hill and then the descent. So stay tuned if you want to watch that. I'll see what I can do. And hopefully you guys are excited to follow the build. Again, as always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya. All right, we're coming up to that hill. Thinking this is probably a small ring effort, just because it is pretty steep, and I want to keep a high cadence. So let's try that. I may be wrong, but let's give it a shot. All right, once we hit the turn, we're on.